Hey, David Wygand here for the 10-Minute Daily Reality Check, Father's Day 2017. Let's take a moment of appreciation for all the dads out there in the world. Hopefully your sons and daughters will show up, appreciate you. Supposedly my daughter, when I pick her up in a little bit, she wants me to take her to Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's. I asked her, why are we spending Father's Day at Dave & Buster's? And she said to me via FaceTime, I need more things. I'm thinking to myself, you don't need any more things. You just need to be with your dad on Father's Day. And then it took me back in time. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to say to my parents all the time, hey, when's Kids Day? Why is there Father's Day or Mother's Day? When's Kids Day? And my mom would always look at me straight in the eye and say, every single day is Kids Day. Which, if you think about it, is the truth. Nothing is easier than being a kid. Every day is fun. Every day is great. Every day is play, 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 play. Stay up as late as you possibly can and ignore bedtime and play, 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 play. Zero responsibilities, no bills to pay. No adult conversations to have. None of that ridiculous stuff that we get bogged down with as adults. So I remember going to Wilmot Chemists. It was in the Golden Horseshoe. For those of you who are from Scarsdale, New York, you'll remember Wilmot Chemists. We went to Wilmot Chemists to go get my dad his Father's Day gift. Every single year on Father's Day, I gave my dad soap on the rope. It was either Old Spice soap on the rope, Brute soap on the rope, and I think there was one other brand. It was this giant bar of soap attached to a rope that you would literally put and hang around your neck. And I'm thinking to myself, for those of you who use the bar of soap to clean your whole body, it's kind of crazy to have soap on the rope. It just kind of hangs like a chain. I remember my father would always thank me for the bar of soap that he would always get on a rope. I never actually saw him have or hang the bar of soap on his rope, but I would always check in his bathroom to see whether or not he was using it. And I would see it would get smaller and smaller. And when it got really, really tiny, like it was the size of a pack of Trident gum, it would just be hangling and dangling from that rope. And I think to myself, wow, my dad loves me because he is using my soap on the rope. It's amazing how the young mind works. It's amazing on how we process things and how we feel things and what perception is to us when we're children. I remember I got really excited one year when my mother decided to buy me at Wilmot Chemists a soap on the rope as well because I was complaining about not having anything for Kids Day. And I remember hanging it from my neck in the shower and letting the water beat down and letting the bubbles come up. And I felt like I was my dad. I always loved my dad. My dad was definitely not Father of the Year. My father was definitely a very comical guy. He was 6'5", totally gangly, never worked out, really wasn't much in shape, and always talked about never having a gut, which he did have. He was the softest man in the entire world, and he was my anti-role model. I remember when I was a kid, people always would ask me, who do you want to be when you get older, your mom or your dad? And I said, well, I don't want to be my mom because I don't want to be a woman, and I don't want to be my dad because I don't want to be a pussy or a wimp. I remember playing football in the backyard with my dad, and I remember hitting or running into him, and he would tumble over, almost like a gigantic building that was blown up from the bottom on up. He would always be getting injured. He'd always be doing stupid things. I remember he would wipe out on the ice and then yell at me for not clearing the ice patch. Dad, I'm like 11 years old. I can't clear the ice patch. My muscles aren't strong enough, and you never bought any salt. So I sat there and tried to chisel the ice nonstop, and I warned him that there was still ice there, but he would still wipe out anyway. I remember my dad one time had the hood of his car up in the garage because he was trying to figure out what was wrong with his car. Now, my dad was not mechanically inclined. He was more mechanically declined. And I remember, I'll never forget this, he had a 73 yellow Corvette, hardtop and soft top, and he never really used the convertible at all, but every spring we would go and take the hardtop off and have the convertible top on only, and he would never drive with it, with the top down, but wanted a convertible. So I remember that day in the wintertime, he was checking out his engine, and I was watching him and thinking to myself, this man has absolutely no clue what the hell he's looking at. I don't think he even knows what a carburetor is or a spark plug. And he tells me to gas it. So I gas it. Here we are in the garage with the door open, but yet still a 1973 Corvette in a closed or open garage is definitely going to give out enough carbon monoxide to give you a little bit of a high or kill you. So I looked at him and I go, Dad, what do you think it is? He goes, I don't know. We need to take it down to Ben's Chevron. Ben's Chevron. Ben loved my dad because he can consistently rip him off on repairs nonstop. My father loved Ben because he thought Ben was the most honest mechanic in the entire world, which Ben actually was, but my father would consistently bring this car in for repairs because for some reason or another, cars in the 70s were constantly breaking down, overheating, or doing very, very bad things to their owners. So Ben was like the ultimate guy for my dad to come in and literally go and get the car fixed. So my dad looks at me and he was getting all annoyed. He goes, I got to get to work. I said, okay, Dad, great. Got to make the train. Okay, Dad, great. I got to go catch the school bus. So he says, get out of the car. So I get out of the car and he gets into the car, and without shutting the hood that opened up from the front, you know how the Corvette did, you lifted the hood from the back and opened it up that way. My father proceeded to drive out of the garage, hooking the hood on the lip of the garage and bending the fiberglass hood. I just started laughing. I was like, this is my dad, a complete knucklehead. I told him that the hood would not clear the garage, and he looked at me and said, yes, it will. So I said, go for it. And he did. I'll never forget that day. He blamed me, of course, right? I went to the school bus laughing all the way and told my friends what a complete putz my father was. My father was a really comical guy. He was not the most loving guy in the entire world. I never heard the words, I love you, out of his mouth, or I'm so proud of you. My dad, in 6th grade, was my baseball coach. My dad's name was Rhodes. They called him Dusty because it was a baseball player named Dusty Rhodes in the 50s. So that was my dad's nickname. My dad's nickname was Dusty. And my dad was a complete trip. 6th grade, Dr. Older and him were the coaches for our baseball team. And Dr. Older thought his name was Les. So the entire season, my father would allow him to call him Les. Never corrected him, thought it was really funny. I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. My friends would be like, your dad's name is Rhodes and Dusty. Why is Dr. Older calling him Les? And I'd say, that's my dad's sense of humor. My dad wasn't perfect at all. My dad passed about 25 years ago. Died a very young man. And I miss him. He was quirky. He was strange. He was self-centered. He was a huge Jets fan. Thank you, Dad, for fucking me up with football. You couldn't have made me a Giants fan, so I could have won a couple of Super Bowls. But no matter what it is, you only have one dad. Whether it's the dad you want, whether it's the dad you totally respect, whether it's the dad that you look up to or the dad that was never there for you, you've got one dad, and that's it. So today on Father's Day 2017, embrace that. Let it go. Call your dad if you haven't spoken to him in a long time. Make amends. Accept him for who he is. And think of your dad this way. Think of your dad as an adult instead of the son or daughter looking up to him. Let go of all the things he wasn't and take a look at him as an adult now. Take a look at him as the dad that he is now, the man that he is now. He's quirky, he's older, he is what he is. You're not going to have that father experience that you ever wanted. If you had the perfect dad, great. But if not, just embrace him for who he is right now. Because it's the only dad you got. So look at him just as a quirky older man. Look at him as a funky older man. Look at him for who he is. Not through the eyes of the little girl, little boy that's still lurking inside you. Look at him for exactly what he is today and appreciate him. Appreciate his quirkiness, appreciate who he is, appreciate everything about him. Because if my dad was still alive, I would appreciate him on all those levels. For all of you who are dads, happy Father's Day. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Enjoy the kids at the age and stage that they're at. And for those of you who are not a dad, reach out to your dad today. And reach out to them as an adult to an adult. Memories are beautiful. Anyway, 10-minute daily reality check out. See you Monday morning. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great Father's Day. Oh, and one last thing. Pass this on to all the dads out there, or all the people that are struggling with their father-son or father-daughter relationships. It's time to heal all wounds on Father's Day 2017.